Very excited.
Especially the care leaf. How about you, brother? Are you excited?
Super excited. You know, even the Philippines, people are so happy using the products. And I believe if the Filipino people and people in Asia are now maximizing the wonderful products of Aim Global that you saw right now, I believe Nigeria will do better. Is that right?
Yes.
Can you please say, neighbor, you can do better. You know, brother, I learned a lot. I even use my biggest notebook to write down plenty of things. I write down plenty of, see, the very big notebook. Wonderful.
And not only I Protect and Care Leaf, I believe most of the people here are excited about the burn products.
Yes!
Can you look at the belly of the person beside you? The belly.
Who wants to be sexy? Can I see your hand? You know, brother, it's very important that you represent your business very well.
Exactly.
If we're talking about health and wealth, of course, you need to have a very good figure. And burn product is one of the most important products we need right now.
That's true, brother, because especially if you are selling our burn products, and of course, the person that will buy your product or your client will look at you, you're some quite big. Now, wow. Of course, definitely, they will not buy your product. Am I right, brother? Okay, so my dear friends, let me just remind you that later on we'll be having our break time. So don't worry, you will be having your break time later on. We have time to eat. Okay? So
I believe we have their food right now.
Yes.
We have your food right now with you, but please, even how hungry you are, remember the burn. You need to have your good figure. So control yourself. We will be having our time for eating. We will announce to you the time for eating. We'll be giving you an ample amount of time to finish your food. But as of now, we need to feed first our mind. Can you please stop your neighbor? Feed your mind.
Feed your mind. Of course, my dear friends, this is the time for us to acknowledge our VIPs. Okay?
All right.
We have delegates from other countries. Okay, are you ready to meet them?
Yes.
First, my dear friends, he is our partner from Korea. Okay?
Yeah.
Are you excited? So, my dear friends, we're happy to acknowledge, my dear friends, our partner from Korea, Mr. Ki Won-suk.
Can you give a round of applause?
Okay, Mr. Ki Won-suk. Okay, that's Mr. Ki Won-suk, our partner from Korea.
Straight from Korea, visiting you here in Nigeria. I think, sir, this is your first time, right? First time in Nigeria. Can you imagine? First time in Nigeria. Let's give him the bossa of Nigeria. It's 1, 2, 3.
Standing ovation, Nigeria.
Once more. Let's welcome our partner from Korea. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Bossa! Bossa! Bossa!
Wow, wonderful.
That is for our partner from Korea.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course.
And now, if we have a partner from Korea, we'll not waste any amount of their time anymore.
Exactly.
I know this is the time you're so much excited to welcome him. You know, most of the Nigerians only met him in the Philippine trip.
Exactly.
During the events in the Philippines, you heard him do the trainings. He was with you in the Life Foundation. He was with you in the anniversary.
Yes.
But this time, first time in Nigeria, coming straight from United States to be with you, our longest partner. Are you ready?
Let's acknowledge our master herbalist from Nature's Way, Dr. Dean Morris!
Ladies and gentlemen, let them hear 1 million! 2 million! 3 million!
Alright, first, we have to give 3 bossa for Dr. Dean Morris. One more time!
We need to welcome Dr. Dean Morris
With a bossa, of course.
with a 3 bossa, of course, for him to experience the first time in Nigeria. You know what? We're so excited. Come on, let's give 1, 2, 3, go!
Bossa! Bossa! Bossa!
Wonderful! Wow!
Alright, one more time to Dr. Dean Morris!
Wow! Our formulator of C24/7!
My money, my body, now your own, oh baby. 30 billion for the account, yo. Versace and Gucci for your body, oh baby. No do, gotta for me. No do, say that.
Yeah!
Gotta from you, baby. Remix Babylon, let's go.
First time in Nigeria! Are you excited?
Top 13, Morris Life in Nigeria!
People up here make you go. Sure you do me juju. Cause I'm feeling the juju.
Good morning.
Morning!
My clicker. Thank you. Good call. Okay, yes, it is my first time in your beautiful continent of Africa. So this is the very first place I have come, Abuja, to say good morning to you all. I'm just learning the language, small, 1-1. Ekaro? Good morning. And Inakwana? Yubolanchi? Good morning to you all. Happy 5th anniversary. It's great to be with you here. After 5 years, you've already established a foundation, a trunk, if you will, on this beautiful tree that is growing here in Nigeria, growing throughout Abuja, growing throughout your country. You're 5 years growing like a tree that is going to just continue to fill Nigeria with health and prosperity. And I am so grateful to be a part of your 5th anniversary presentation. Now, the 5th anniversary tradition talks about the 5th anniversary being wood is the gift. You look for something that is made of wood to present to a person who is celebrating the success of their 5th anniversary. So I want Kevin to bring up a little gift that I'd like to present. Oh, Kevin, you're there? Just unwrap that and bring that up and we'll set it right here. I've got a little wreath for you. Do you know the term wreath? Yes. A wreath? Yes. In where I'm from, the U.S. West Side, we put the wreath out on our doors. And so this is made of the wood from my grape vineyards. Wow. And we made that for you to celebrate your 5th anniversary, this being one of wood that we would provide. And we, in the United States, hang these. We call them harvest wreaths. And they show our gratitude. They show how grateful we are for the blessings, the prosperity, and the harvest of our gardens, our fields, our crops, our vineyards, our trees. And this year has been an abundant year for my family, and we wanted to share that abundance with this kind of harvest wreath. This is my home, and we hang a harvest wreath on our door after the harvest. Now here in Nigeria, you're harvesting all year long. You don't have a particular harvest season because you grow and grow and grow and grow and harvest and harvest and harvest all year long. But in the United States, in the West, in the mountains, you can see the mountains behind my home there, we have a harvest season. We have winter and snow, and then we plant in the spring, and then we harvest in the summer and the fall. And that's when these wreaths would go out, these harvest wreaths, to say how grateful, how appreciative we are for the blessings, for the prosperity, for the nutrition that we can put into our cupboards. And so when we have all that food in our cupboards, is the word cupboard used in Nigeria? When you've got all those good foods, fruits, vegetables, all that nutrition stored, harvested and stored in your cupboard, then you hang the harvest wreath. Now, of course, that is a symbol of C24/7, isn't it? Because like an abundant harvest, C24/7 is an entire cupboard full of phytonutrients, of antioxidants, of vitamins, of minerals, of nutraceutical energizers. The cornucopia, if you will, a plethora, an abundance of nutrition, all formulated into C24/7 and the complete phytoenergizer. That is a cupboard full of nutrients that we can be grateful for, that we can recognize the abundant blessings that come from that. But this particular wreath, like C24/7, is very abundant. But this particular wreath that I'm giving you, and Natural Life Asia and Nature's Way presents to you this harvest wreath made from the wood of our grape vineyards. We bring it to you, but it's kind of bare. There's not much there. What do we have to be grateful for? A lot. We have so much to be grateful for. So I'm going to need your help to actually build this wreath to show the abundance of nutrients. Your knowledge of the nutrients that are in C24/7 are going to help us build this wreath for you. All right? And for those of you who have answers to the questions that I'm going to ask, we, my family, made little tiny tokens, little tiny harvest wreaths. And so I'm going to give a wreath to each person who has the correct answer. So raise your hand, and I'll come down and get your correct answer, and you'll get a little harvest wreath that my family and I put together as a token of the nutrition, of the abundance, of the harvest that is a part of the harvest of AIM Global here in Nigeria. All right, so you ready? You got your thinking caps on? You got your knowledge going? We're going to build this wreath. We're going to make it abundant, and we're going to show the great harvest that is the prosperity and health that C24/7 and the phytoenergizer bring to Nigeria. Question 1. How many different categories or types of nutrition are found in the complete phytoenergizer and C24/7? How many categories of nutrients? How many different groups of nutrients? Oh, I don't have stairs there. I have to come all the way around, or I have to jump all the way down, don't I? That's a long jump, but maybe I could do it. All right, who knows how many categories? That's too close to your phone. Your phone, I think, is giving it 16? 60,000? Categories of nutrients. Categories of nutrients. Keep the presentation up on the screen.
16,000.
16,000. That might be the I don't even know how many individual nutrients there are. We don't even know yet how many individual nutrients there are in C24/7. We're still learning how to recognize and name the individual phytonutrients that are found in the C24/7. We don't even know how many there are. But this is the question, is how many categories? These are the groups of nutrients. You know, a category like minerals, a category like antioxidants, a category like fruits. How many categories do we have? 12. I'm going to give that wreath to this young lady. I probably would have taken 16 as well. There's 7 of them. And notice that I am separating out water-soluble vitamins from fat-soluble vitamins or lipid-soluble vitamins. So there is a full 14 that I've recognized as categories or types of nutrients that are found in the C24/7. All right, you ready for question 2? These are getting a little bit harder, which superfood fruit has been shown to prevent tumors of the uterus? Which superfood fruit has been shown to prevent tumors of the uterus. Does anybody know which fruit? You probably would have had to have been in Manila last, was it April when we were in Manila? When were we last in Manila? Who was there in Manila? When was that? Is that April? I gave this presentation, I talked about this superfruit and how it prevents tumors in the uterus. Does anybody remember from that lecture which superfruit it is? Well, let's give you a hint. There's a lot of superfruits in there, including papayas and pineapple that you're very familiar with. I had a delicious papaya yesterday for dinner. But the superfood fruit that I'm talking about is one of the 6 from the rose family. So I've nailed it down to 6. I've cut out 6. So which superfruit actually has been shown to prevent tumors in the uterus? Question. You got an answer. We lost? Oh, there it is. No, not that one. Strawberries. How did you remember that? Very good. So strawberries is the answer there. Strawberries, there's the flower of strawberries. And that strawberry has been shown in the literature to prevent benign tumors in reproductive aged women in their uterus. So uterine leiomyomas have been shown to be prevented through the use of strawberries and strawberry powders, strawberry extracts. So we need to start building this wreath. We need to start putting some things on it. We need to start being grateful for those kinds of foods like strawberries, like plums, like those members of the rose family. And start building our harvest wreath. I love the rose family. It has so many good nutrients. So we start putting those in and we're grateful for those things. Let's look at another one. The plum. The plums that we've got here. There's the flower. Plums have been associated with improving brain function, cognitive function, brain function, bone health, and the parameters of heart risk factors. The factors for risk of heart disease have been reduced through the use of plums. Where can you find plums? Here in Nigeria. Everybody should have the answer to that one. C24/7 and Complete Phyto Energizer is the answer. You can find plums, you can find cherries, you can find apricots, super fruits. You can find all of these members. Everybody should have had the answer to that. It should have been one big shout. C24/7. Apricots. Where can you find apricots? Anti-arthritis, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and even improving your immune function with the apricots that are found in where? Exactly, one of the superfruits that are there. So, quality question, how do you know C24/7 provides the good fruits of the rose family and not the other parts? How many of you have a rose bush in your yard or a member of the rose family growing nearby? Anybody have an apple tree? That's a member of the rose family. Anybody have a rose bush? That's a member of the rose family. I looked up, there's lots of different rose plants that grow here in Nigeria. So I wonder if you recognize them. They're the ones with the thorns on them. Yeah. Rose family usually will have thorns. Those stems and those thorns and the seeds from these members of the rose family have cyanic acid in them. And if you eat too much of them, it will produce cyanide in your system to the point where it can be toxic. So how do we know that C24/7 only uses the edible part, the beneficial part, the part that is rich in blessing your lives with health and strength, and not the parts that form cyanide, not the parts that are toxic or poisonous? How do you know? Does anybody have an answer to that question? We've got a hand up.
Because it passed through clinical production and yes.
There you go. Because of the abundance of tests, the abundance of analyses that we go through, not just any one, and not just clinical trials that was mentioned here, but layer upon layer of analytics. There's an analysis at every step of the production, so that you can never mistake harvesting something that shouldn't have the seeds in it, but only the fruit. And that's what this hint is. That's one of these steps. One of the analytics is infrared spectroscopy. I would have accepted that answer as well. You were thinking of that one, weren't you? Infrared spectroscopy? You were going to give that answer. I'm sorry I didn't make it over there. But infrared spectroscopy can actually determine whether you've got the seed or the fruit, whether you've got the thorns or the delicious, edible, wonderful superfood that is the fruit of the rose family. You got to know the difference. You don't want to send cyanide out there. And so you've got to be testing and measuring and making sure when someone brings you a harvest of materials, you've got to analyze it and make sure it's the stuff that's going to do you good and not the stuff that's going to be toxic. We use infrared spectroscopy to do just that. All right, question 4. Which superfood veggies provide cancer-fighting diindolylmethane? That's something to write down. You use that term a lot, don't you, here in Nigeria? Don't you say, Ikaro diindolylmethane? Isn't that a conversation starter here in Nigeria? You don't say, hello, good morning, diindolylmethane? I don't either. Well, we ran out of simple words for all the nutrients that are found in plants. Plants have thousands and thousands and thousands of nutrients. And we ran out of simple letters like vitamin A, like vitamin B, we ran out of those long ago. And so we have to use long words now to represent give a name to each of these amazing nutrients that plants produce. Plants have to handle this humidity and heat. They don't have a tent. They don't have air conditioning. They don't have clothing. They've got to produce all of the nutrients to handle the heat, the humidity, the stress of this environment. And so they produce thousands of phytonutrients. Diindolylmethane is just one. It's a group of nutrients. Which veggie produces the most diindolylmethane that can help you fight cancer? Did I already give away my little souvenir? Someone had it? Or was that, I didn't come back up here, did I? My daughter Abigail made this one. She's very cute. Which superfood veggie produces the most diindolylmethane? Nice one. No. But thank you for trying. No. Broccoli. The cruciferous vegetables. Let's see, is there an aisle over there? Let's get back over here. So there we have the 4 petals. The way you can recognize this family, the mustard family, broccoli's in the mustard family. The way you recognize this family is because the petals form a cross shape. 4 petals form a cross, or what's another word for the cross? And another word for this family of plants? Cruciferous. Very good. Cruciferous vegetables produce diindole methane. So it's not any of these other superfoods. It's actually, I don't know what happened to our screen, and my computer may need electrical outlet as well eventually. But we've got screen issues. And I worked all night on this presentation too. But those are your 5 cruciferous vegetables that are a part of the C24/7. Broccoli is one of them. Cabbage. Cauliflower. Kale. And the one that comes from Brussels sprouts. 5 of the cruciferous vegetables yielding diindole methane that is a cancer fighter that will keep you from prevent cancers from forming. So there's the complete, okay, we've lost our screen. The quality question for this one is, how do you know that you've got diindole methane in there that's coming from the cruciferous vegetables and not from coal tar? Do you know that there are some companies that know that diindole methane is important? They know that it'll help fight cancer, but they don't want to go to the expense of growing it. They don't want to have fields and grow broccoli. They don't want to have to harvest it. They want to take shortcuts, and they'll use petroleum and coal tar, and they'll synthesize diindole methane. It's cheaper, makes the product cheaper. But when you get diindole methane from coal tar, it can also cause rashes. It can cause allergic reactions. Brussels sprouts. How do you know? Answer. Clinical trials, that's the response that we heard earlier. And there's a lot of clinical trials on these nutrients, but Nature's Way is doing analyses. In the harvesting of nutrients from foods, from nature, from foods. Some of them are just getting started, and they don't know how to tell the difference between coal tar and broccoli. And they get into their products and they cause these rashes. Do you know how many products have been found to be problematic? To have difficulties differentiating between broccoli and coal tar? This was in the latest journal, the latest issue of Herbalgram. Do you see where I bolded it and underlined it? 18 months the New York Attorney General's office spent studying products, dietary supplements from throughout the United States. 4 out of 5 of them did not have what was on the label in their product. 80% of those products that the New York Attorney General's office pulled from shelves and tested, analyzed, failed. They did not have the plants that were listed on the label. 80%! You are getting products from a manufacturer like Nature's Way that uses this true ID that goes to the genetic DNA level to know that you are giving them super fruits, super veggies, grasses, mushrooms, all the things that are in the C24/7 and the complete phyto-energizer. Now, Nature's Way is a pretty big manufacturer. Its actual parent company is the largest manufacturer in the world for phytomedicines. But even companies as big as NBTY, which is the largest dietary supplement manufacturer in the North American continent, failed these tests. The New York Attorney General's office had to sue and say, you must cease selling and making products in New York because you don't know how to do it. They're the largest manufacturer in North America. And so that is quite a comparison. I'm just trying to quantify for you, put in context the problems that are out there and how grateful we can be, the gratitude you and I can feel for having a product that is the right stuff and will bring the right health and prosperity to Nigeria. C24/7 and the Complete Phyto Energizer. True ID is an independent organization. They're based in Ontario, Canada, and they are the world's first to identify the DNA of all of these plants and give us a functional way to differentiate plants from synthesized components. These confirm the presence of the proper botanical in our products. These will protect your consumers. These will promote honesty throughout the supplement world and gives consumers confidence that their products are authentic, that you'll get the good stuff out of them. Question 6. In 2014, this is a local story, at least for the African continent, in South Africa, what did Pastor Daniel have his congregation eat to, quote, get closer to God? Did you have that one? Come on up. While I forgot to put the cruciferous vegetables up. We've got to keep building this. I've got something for you. Now, I'm not inviting you to all rush the stage like this young lady, but I did have some extra lollipops. So we forgot to put the cruciferous vegetables up. I'm going to put down the mic and I need a table up here. I need a table and I need another pair of hands.
Keyboard.
For Legos, we probably ought to have a table and a mic that goes on my lapel or lavalier. Thank you, Dr. Butch. But there's our kale and cabbage and other leaves that are going into our harvest wreath. Thank you very much, sir. And what was the answer that we got from that lovely young lady? Ladies? Pastor Daniel said, let's go eat grass. Let's see if I got a picture. Yeah. And so, yeah, you can just go right on out and you'll definitely get closer to God. I have to agree with them. I forage a lot. I go out in the wild and I know plants. And I know the toxic ones and I know the good ones. And I know how to identify quality. I know that certain grasses will be anemic, will be laden with heavy metals. And these grasses can make you sick. In fact, Pastor Daniel had that experience. Some of his congregation got really sick after eating just grass that was out there in the wild, in their yards and in their area. And so you got to make sure that you know how to choose the grasses that are not gonna make you sick. And how can you conveniently put grass into your diet, back into your diet? Gotta raise your hand. I saw that hand first. What's the answer? C24/7, right? Exactly. That's how you can conveniently put clean, green grass and gratitude back into your diet. Now, if grass is looking pale, that can indicate that it's got cadmium and other heavy metals, too much of them. If grass is looking eaten by insects, that can mean they have too many heavy metals, that they're growing in soil that has too much lead. And that will make that grass vulnerable to bugs. It weakens the grass to have lead and mercury and cadmium in it. Now, C24/7 has things like wheatgrass and barley grass and even some sea grasses like kelp and other things like that. Look at the number of nutrients that have been found in just wheatgrass so far. We're still naming some of them. That's page 1. Here's page 2. All of these nutrients have been identified just in wheatgrass, over 270. And that's why I say I don't know how many nutrients are in C24/7. C24/7 has plants and extracts that have so many nutrients that have yet to even be named as we're learning more. And so it's an abundant source of nutrients to have nettle in there. That's a picture of nettle from my garden. There's a seagrass, the kelp. There's thistle, milk thistle. Alfalfa right there has over 409 nutrients that have been identified in alfalfa alone. And where can you get all of these? C24/7. All right, how do you know the grass in C24/7 isn't contaminated with heavy metals? How do you know that that grass is going to make you feel good and give you that strength, that super nutrition, and instead of making you sick? How do you know? I'm going to look for a specific response here.
Because of the technology.
Yes.
Do you know what analysis helps us determine whether there are too much heavy metals in our foods? What technology is needed? I don't know if anybody knows this one, so I'm going to give you this token wreath and introduce you to. Now tell me if you knew this one. My clicker's not working from here. The answer is inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry. Who had that one?
Nobody knows.
Who had that one? I've got another wreath. You had that one? You had inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry? That's a mouthful. I'd much rather have a mouthful of C24/7. But that is gone. That unit that I had a picture of there, guess what? It heats up to almost twice the temperature of the surface of the sun. It's plasma. The sun is made of plasma. And that heats up to about 10,000 Kelvin units and just basically blasts apart the sample grass. If we're putting grass in there, the grass is just completely annihilated except for heavy metals. You can't destroy heavy metals with this heat. So you can count and measure how much heavy metals is in your plant food. And when the screen is back, we'll commence. But you see, the surface of the sun is about 5,700 Kelvin units. And that plasma, inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometer, heats up to 10,000 Kelvin units. So we have equipment that actually is almost twice the heat of the sun to be able to measure heavy metals for you in your foods. Because you don't want lead, you don't want cadmium, you don't want mercury in your foods, in your brain. It causes learning disabilities. It causes kids to not be able to build their brains, and they won't be able to develop. So, everybody could just look at my screen. And let's go on and ask the next question. From what do you get polymethoxylated flavones? There's another one of those long words. From what food source do we get polymethoxylated flavones. Somebody have an answer to that one? There's a long one. I know Dr. Bush had you repeat some of these interesting words, scientific words. I'm not going to ask you to repeat that one. You can repeat the abbreviation PFMs. I'm sorry, I got that one wrong. PMS, polymethoxylated flavones. PMS. He said, that must be a dead spot right there. PMS, everybody say it together. PMS, polymethoxylated flavones. PMFs. Very good. Those are polymethoxylated flavones. What food do we get those from? Say it again. They do, but what part of the citrus fruit? Gotta have hands. I'm going to give that one to her because it is the citrus family and it is the peel that we get PMS from, polymethoxylated flavones. And I knew that as we're getting affluent, Nigerians, I saw your construction flying in and driving from the airport. I saw the buildings, I saw the affluence that is coming, the blessings of the harvest of prosperity that Nigeria is experiencing. So how many of you have had orange juice in the last few days? Yeah. Just the same as in my country. We drink a lot of orange juice and we don't ever bite the peel anymore. We used to. All other animals on the planet used to get a bite of the peel before they got to the nice, sweeter, juicier center. But we don't do that. Well, now that we're prosperous enough to have somebody make a juicer for us and squeeze it out and throw the peel away. And that's too bad because, there we're back again. Because those flavones like hesperidin, mangerinin, nobilitin, a number of them, there's a whole family of them, those citrus peel bioflavonoids help your liver. They help your liver produce a healthier range of HDL cholesterol and not so much of the LDL or bad cholesterol. So I think you need some of those in your diet. That's why we formulated them back in, Dr. Ed and I, into the C24/7 and the Complete Phyto Energizer. You've got those flavonoids back in to be able to help you with that. And there's a picture of me harvesting our citrus crop, lemons and oranges and grapefruit. And I try to get my kids to eat a little bit of the peel. They don't do it as easily. It's very bitter. But we do try to get them to enjoy more of those citrus foods in there. And so let's start putting some of that on our wreath. So, C24/7, bioflavonoids, superfood citrus peel bioflavonoids. Where can you conveniently get PMFs tested free of pesticides? Where can you get those PMFs that are tested free of pesticides? Because this is a peel. Citrus plants sometimes are sprayed with a lot of pesticides. So, what's the answer? In a laboratory, in analysis, where can you conveniently get PMFs that are tested free of pesticides? C24/7 is the answer. C24/7 has these polymethoxylated flavones that are always tested to be free of pesticides and herbicides and heavy metals, and are made sure that they are the right foods that are in there, that their DNA checks out. What part of marigolds provides macula protection? What part of the marigold can actually offer protection to your macula. There you go. The flower! Just like the color of your shirt, these beautiful shirts, it is that flower, that carotenoid pigment that makes that color of that flower so beautiful that we put into C24/7, that gets right into the macula. The macula is a disc of yellow disc of cells that every photon, all these lights, every bit of light penetrates, bounces off of your macula. It's one of the most vulnerable spots in your body for stress. And so it requires a lot of this golden lutein, carotenoid, to feed that macula to protect it from all of this ultraviolet radioactive photons that are bombarding your eye. And so we put that in there from the flower, but how do you know whether you're getting actual marigold flowers or chrysanthemum? Can you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference of those flowers? Which one's the chrysanthemum and which one's the calendula or marigold? There's a little bit of the petals of calendula. How do you know when you've got calendula officinalis and not the more toxic chrysanthemum to get this pigment from? Because chrysanthemums also have pyrrolizidine alkaloids that can hurt your liver. Answer. True ID. Excellent. Thank you. True ID knows the difference between the DNA of a chrysanthemum and the DNA of a marigold. So you know you've got the actual pigment, the color, the carotenoid coming from calendula and not from the more toxic chrysanthemum in your C24/7 and Complete Phytoenergizer. Which longevity enzyme? Oh, we've got to put some flowers up here. Where is my nice calendula flower? There it is. Let's put the lutein right there. And continue adding. Which longevity enzyme do you increase by eating resveratrol? Where does resveratrol come from? Grapes. Excellent. Let's go ahead and put those up. The question isn't where it comes from. The question is which enzyme do you build when you take resveratrol? Which enzyme in your body is increased when you're consuming resveratrol? Which one? Close enough. I assume that you said the CERT, and you said CERT2. There's a range of them. CERT1 is the one that the literature indicates will regulate gene silencing, DNA repair, DNA recombination, and aging. And so in addition, it's regulating the programmable cells so that they don't die. It's helping to stave off apoptosis, cell death. And so these resveratrol that's coming from these can actually be like restricting your diet, like you're starving. When you starve, your cells will produce more of the SIRT1 enzyme so that they can preserve that cell so that you don't die. And so your cells live longer when they are fed resveratrol from grapeseed, from Japanese knotweed, from red wine extract, and from red wine concentrate. You're increasing this SIRT1 that has been found to protect cells against aging and free radical ROS production and DNA damage, thereby reducing cell death. And what's the next question then? What is ROS? What is ROS? If SIRT1 enzymes from resveratrol is helping to protect you from ROS, is ROS your neighbor?
Yes, he's our...
Actually, yes. Ross is all over the place, in every neighborhood. Every neighborhood has a Ross. You know. Ross, very antagonistic. There you go. Reactive oxygen species. Reactive oxygen species do what?
Cellular damage.
Cell damage. They age your cells. There we go. There's the pirates, the scavengers, the Ross neighbors. They go in and they're stealing that oxygen out of your cells. They're reactive. They want and will steal oxygen right out of your cells. They're all over the place. We produce them, in fact, and the environment produces a lot of them. And that will help your antioxidants then come in and balance. They stabilize these reactive oxygen species so that your cell can keep its oxygen and be happy. See how happy that cell is now that you've provided a wide abundance of antioxidants? So Ross is an oxidizing agent. Ross is a radical that wants to steal oxygen out of your cells. But the diversity of nutrients in C24/7 and Complete Phytoenergizer help to correct those imbalances. Quality question. How do you know if fruits like grapes and veggies and greens were properly harvested? How do you know if they were properly harvested? How can you tell if a crop has been harvested at the proper time? You already answered one. True ID is a good one for checking the DNA, but it doesn't tell you how ripe it was. It doesn't tell you when it was harvested.
The color of the skin and the inside and outside.
The color, he's saying, inside and out would be similar, and that's true with a lot of fruits, but not with a lot of veggies. So how can you tell for sure if the harvest was properly made so that it can effectively combat Ross? Say again? The pigments, yeah, you're going to be testing the pigments, the colors, you're going to be looking for all that in a particular test that tells you if it was harvested. Do we need a hint on this one? Spectro something. Spectro, I would have accepted that. But let's see if we've got a hint on that. We don't have a hint. There's the answer. ORAC! What's ORAC stand for? This test, this analysis, will tell you whether you harvested that at the right time so that it has all of its pigments. You were all on the right train of thought. You were all on the right course. But this is the analysis, ORAC, that allows you to measure whether something was fully ripe and on the vine and on the tree, that rich color, those rich flavonoids, whether it was harvested without damaging the vegetables, the grass, the fruits, whether it was dehydrated properly so that it wasn't just burned up in a hot oven and leave you without the antioxidants that can then absorb the Ross scavengers, right? So ORAC will be the thing that will measure for you to indicate that you have, in C24/7 and Complete Phytoenergizer, you have the right harvest. You can be grateful for the abundance of antioxidants in there, and especially when you compare it head to head with other multivitamins, your ORAC values are off the chart. And so you're able to see that that harvest came in, and you can have that gratitude, and that harvest wreath will then be fully recognized and filled up because the harvest was abundant and the harvest was great. Okay, this might be, I don't know what our timing is. I didn't even notice when we started. But let's go on to this next question, and I'll let them pull me off the stage when they like. How do the letters D and K help spell healthy heart? How do the letters D and K help spell healthy heart? Anybody have a response to that? How do the letters D and K help with a healthy heart? The vitamins themselves, D and K. These are fat-soluble vitamins that are found in there. And here's some research that I just found. This was published just a couple of months ago, 2017 of June, in the journal Hypertension. And I know you can't read that from here, so I'm going to blow up the significant part. The combination of low vitamin D and K status was associated with increased blood pressure and a trend for greater hypertension risk. Wow. High blood pressure, hypertension. You will have greater risk for hypertension, blood pressure on the heart, if you do not get enough vitamin D and vitamin K in your diets. So those are important vitamins. C24/7, Complete Phyto Energy. We recognize that vitamins are critical. We're learning more about the nutrients that plants produce all of the time, but we already know that things like vitamin D and K and these fat-soluble vitamins are extremely important. And they're important not only to you, this age group, this generation, but to the younger generation as well. And so I don't want to spend a lot of time on this next product because it's not even here in Nigeria yet. But I'm told this might be just a little preview, a sneak peek, if you will, that you will be getting the Kitty C24/7 gummy coming hopefully by October. And so the kids in that vitamin D is very important, and they've got the D3 in the Kitty 24/7, packed with all kinds of vitamins and minerals in a delicious, delightful, easy to take gummy source of that vitamin. And I just put in a couple of more vitamin D, this one for children that are a little bit overweight, obese children. And they found that the supplementation, I'll blow that one up too, preliminary findings is that vitamin D supplementation can decrease body mass index and body mass percentile and fat mass content. That is vitamin D that's helping not only with the bones and with bone mineralization and immune health and all the things that vitamin D does, but especially in girls, young girls, before they hit puberty, if you will supplement with some vitamin D, they find that they put on less fat, their bone mass and their structure becomes stronger, more dense, and they put on less weight, less fat gain, that there isn't a connection between too little vitamin D and too much fat, obesity, body mass index. And you can check your body mass index there. Just divide your weight in kilograms by height in meters, and then divide it that same answer by your height in meters again. That's meters squared is the way you would get your body mass index. And I think 27 is the range where if you're 27 or more body mass index, you're getting into the overweight or obese category. So visualize that coming, hopefully within by October is what I'm heard, and nourish your fun with the Kitty 24/7. I'm looking forward to being a part of the official launch there. You've got an abundant harvest of health with all of these products that are put through the rigors of analysis. The Restore Life and that resveratrol-rich product there. The Coladeuce, which is the fish oil product that's great for reducing heart disease, helping the blood to flow. And of course the Complete Phyto Energizer in the C24/7, and hopefully soon the Kitty 24/7. An abundant harvest of health. And all these superfoods, fruits, veggies, how can you be sure they are all in there and all the right superfoods? I think everybody can give the answer to that one. It's all in there. How do you know they're the right ones? That the quality is there, that it's the right, doesn't have pesticides, doesn't have heavy metals, doesn't have toxicity. All those analyses, you can trust the leaf, you can trust nature's way to bring you that, because they are the first in the market to have non-GMO, to be approved and certified by so many organizations throughout the world, Australia, Europe. We're all over the world, and every country has measured and run tests on our products, and they are always passing. And we're always getting their approvals, their certifications, that we are authentic and making the very best products for you. And it's that true ID that tells you all the way to the genes, down to the DNA, that we've got the right products in. And when you've got a company that's been doing this for so long, when it is able to grow and test and distribute and produce and distribute these products all on its own, without having to have a middleman in the middle, so that we know that the quality is good from the seed all the way to your shelves. What's that called? What's it called when you're capable and take responsibility for quality from seed to shelf? It's a term I only learned in college at organizational behavior class, so I'm not really expecting, but it's called vertical integration. And I only give you that because in this latest Herbalgram, the most respected journal of food medicines, they're saying that vertically integrated manufacturers have much better quality than any other type of manufacturing. And that's what Nature's Way has. That's what the Schwaba family provides, so that you don't have these risks. Schwaba and Nature's Way and AIM Global can all depend on this kind of vertical integration to give you known crops, to be able to have control, to be able to ascertain where problems exist, trace it right back to the field, and get it corrected so that everything is clean, pure, good, potent, and healthy and abundant. Nutrition are yours. Health and prosperity. We've been doing it since 1866. Dr. Vilmar Schwaba back in 1866 started developing analyses. He actually developed technologies to analyze plants to recognize when they are healthy and vibrant. And so we've been doing that for a long time. I don't know if you knew that Dr. Schwaba, the parent company of Nature's Way, started clear back in the 1860s. They've always been growing things. They've always been making things and analyzing. Wow. They've got fields even here in South Africa, in Africa, there outside of Cape Town. We're growing the lavender. There's our facilities, or there's a scene from around the facilities. The schools that we have for the kids while the parents are out harvesting the lavender, and the Umka Lawabo products. And that's our 5th generation Schwaba that's at the helm now. So for 5 generations, Nature's Way has been making products and determining the quality from the seed all the way to your shelves. We've got a lot of expertise in that, and we really want to pass that expertise, that health and wealth and prosperity and abundance of nutrients on to you. And maybe someday when you come to the United States, I'll take you on a tour of the world's largest ginkgo farm there in Sumter, South Carolina. We have the drying facilities right there in the field, so we don't have to wait to get them transport them to some other place. If you can get them drying right after the harvest, you have a much better way of making plant medicines, plant supplements, nutraceuticals, C24/7, complete phytoenergizer, and the like. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Have an abundant and prosperous harvest. Sukalafia. Now good? I'm just learning small. Just one. But thank you so much for your participation, your attention. Happy 5th anniversary. Have a very prosperous and abundant harvest in your products. Thank you very much.
Yeah! Dr. Dean Morris! Please give a round of applause for Dr. Dean Morris!
Is that all you got? More applause to Dr. Dean Morris!
Again, brothers. Can you please give big applause for Dr. Dean Morris? Rosa! 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 Boom!
we have a great product in Aim Global? Yes or no?
Yeah!
Do we have a great partner in Netishway? Yes or no? And of course, I would like to recommend also the presence of the people, or should I say the representative from Natural Life Asia. Can we please give our partners your warmest Aim Global applause?
Yes.
Brother Jab,
Yes,
as
Doc.
you can hear earlier, okay, I tried to analyze. And you know what? As I've told you before, he really is my mentor when it comes to the products of Aim Global. I've been discussing the products for the past 9 years. But when I was listening, I've told myself, my God, still there's so many information that I do not know about the products of Aim Global. Especially how Nature's Way is doing everything to make sure that they are giving Aim Global the best possible food supplements. Will that be good?
That is very good, Doctor.
By the way, brothers and sisters, help me with this, brother.
Yes, doctor.
Let's try to prove to the good doctor that Aim Global Leaders from Abuja knows the components of C24/7. Are you ready with me?
Yeah!
Are you ready with me?
Yeah!
Again, I will shout the numbers and you will shout the components.
No wahala.
Okay, no wahala, no wahala. Are you ready, leaders?
Yeah!
Are you ready?
Yes!
Brothers, my name is at stake. Okay, so game. Okay. Number 1, 22,000. 29.
Vitamin and fresh minerals.
Again. Make it loud. 29.
Vitamin and trace minerals.
18.
Acid.
14.
Green food spinner blend.
12.
Japanese mushroom.
My God. Okay.
No, that's
Who's first?
perfect.
12.
Fruit juice blend.
12.
Vegetable juice blend.
12.
12 Japanese mushroom.
12.
Now, wow for you.
No. 10.
Essential fatty acid.
Okay, can we please give Dr. D. Morris your warming global applause?
Dr. Dean Morris.
It only proves, brothers and sisters, that we really have the best food supplement in Aim Global. Why? Because when I was doing a research about the history of Nature's Way, okay, Nature's Way came into existence 1968. Okay? Why do I know it? Because the year of Nature's Way is the same as the year of my birthday. Yeah. And when I was talking to our dear representative from Natural Life, they've been existing since the time that Aim Global came into existence. So meaning to say, brothers and sisters, if you will combine Nature's Way, Natural Life Asia, Aim Global, it only means of one thing, that our company, Aim Global, will last for a lifetime. Will that be good?
Yes. Are you in the best company?
Yeah!
Everybody say, I'm in the best company.
I'm in the best company.
Brothers, we're going to announce something here.
All right, so
brother.
my dear friends, of course, everybody needs a break. Am I right? Do you need a break? So my dear friends, we'll be having a 30 minutes break time. And after that, the vice presidents and the board of directors will be presenting here and they will train you more.
Wow.
All right? So the time right now will be very specific with the time. Okay? The time right now is 12:55. 12:55 on my time right now. So you have to be here at exactly 1:25. Am I clear, my dear friends? Okay, so you have your food right now. You can start. Okay.
By the way, I'm
Time
also
starts
going
now.
to ask you a big request. Okay. Once you're done with the food, can you put it back in your what do you call that one?
Pack.
Your pack.
Yes.
And there's a proper garbage disposal place at the back, so as not to litter.
Yes,
Okay, on the
exactly.
training room. Are we together with that?
Yes.
Are we together with that?
Yes, sir.
And again, can you please welcome our Vice President? It's inside the house.
Yeah.
Mr. Arnel.
Vice President for Training and Network Development, Sir Arnel.
30 minutes starts now. All right.
See you later.
about mother.